Namaskar and welcome to NFL Masala. I'm your co-host Anant.
And I am your other co-host, Rakshak. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 8 of NFL Masala, where we talk about all the latest happenings in the NFL with a little bit of spice. And happy Sunday evening to everyone.
Mhm. Sunday evening, the Hall of Fame game has happened this past Thursday. A
What a game.
fantastic preseason game. What a game. Probably the best Hall of Fame game that we've ever seen. Cardinals, Panthers, going down to the wire. Haynes King, like prime Cam Newton, back again for the Panthers. Maybe QB controversy with the price. I don't know.
But,
We'll see. We'll see.
also, Carson
Mhm.
Beck. You'll talk
And
about
Carson
that later
Beck.
on.
Can't forget him. So they had a fantastic game. Do check it out. I think Panthers won in the last minute, 33-30.
Yep.
Last minute touchdown.
2-minute drill. That's how you do a 2-minute drill, folks.
Exactly. So that was great. But after that, we decided, well, we got some episodes to shoot. So today we're going to be starting with probably the most stacked division in the NFL.
Except for
Run
one
for the
team.
money. Except for one team, obviously, except for one team. But it's the NFC West. You potentially have two Super Bowl contenders and a third one if injuries and luck goes their way. And we're obviously talking about the 49ers in that area. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, and lastly, the Cardinals today. And let's get started. Before that, though, got to do some Dhamakadar news. And boy, have we had a Dhamakadar week.
Oh, my God.
Starting off, Rakshak, some injuries.
So, I mean, first of all, let's say it all started out on Tuesday. Tuesday, we get just after we did the NFC South episode. I thought I hyped up Jalen Walker, right? I found out he had an injury, and unfortunately, it's a torn ACL, out for the season.
Yikes.
I gotta shut up,
man.
But first of all, injuries for all of this, injuries really, really suck. And I'm hoping for everyone, please stay healthy, please stay better, because it's all about the player health. Players first, and then you can talk about all the teams, but player safety. Please watch out. Please stay safe.
Absolutely. All right, next up, Stephon Diggs is making a comeback, not with the Patriots, but with the Commanders. They're going to be signing him and pairing him up with Scary Terry. It's presumably just a short-term contract. Probably not going to be worth that much. But yeah, Stephon Diggs coming back with the Commanders. I don't know how successful he's going to be. I mean, he's had a 1,000-yard season in at New England, but we'll see if that success carries over again into this year. I mean, obviously he's faced some injuries in the past before, and he is up there in age, but he could be the pairing that Commanders actually need to bump up this offense. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see. And speaking of wide receiver extensions, the Ravens and Zay Flowers, 4-year, $140 million extension. Love it. Including $108 million guaranteed. And then all of a sudden, we found out he gets hurt. And then also
quad strain, right?
Yeah, and then from my Eagles side, before we go to your Packers side, on my Eagles side, two important injuries: Devontae Smith and Mekhi Lemon. Both have not. Devontae Smith can easily come back, but Mekhi Lemon has missed a couple of practices straight with a hamstring. Not looking good. I have, because we drafted the guy, but apparently Dontavian Wicks and Darius Cooper, of all people, is stepping up. So I like to see the Wicks connection, and of course Sean Mannion has said that, oh yeah, we're going to continue on with the tush push. So
okay. Well, at least you have guaranteed 10 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, guaranteed 10 touchdowns. I think that I'm going to bet the under, because there's a couple of movement things, but I do have some last minute Demarcadar news that we will talk about regarding about my Eagles. But yes, another good extension. I really like the Bears and Darnell Wright. 4-year, $160 million deal. He's been decent, but as part of that Bears offensive line, which we'll talk about later on, I think that they did their due diligence. Well job on that.
Okay. Well, we also have some unfortunate news with the 49ers, injury news, and I don't know it is the substation. It has to be the substation.
It has to be the substation.
There is no other, I mean, maybe the other explanation is that they just have a shitty health and conditioning coach, which is more than likely, because when the Packers hired the previous shitty health and conditioning coach from the 49ers, the Packers started getting a lot of injuries, a lot of soft tissue injuries as well.
Oh my God.
So realistically speaking, scientifically speaking, it's probably their health and conditioning coach, but it's the substation.
It
is the electric substation. Okay. If you guys have not seen this, next to the 49ers training camp facility is a massive electric substation that just looms over the field like the eye of Sauron.
Lord of the Rings reference, everyone.
Exactly. It is what is causing these injuries. And now we have 7 new players. 7 players with injuries. Kyle Juszczyk, broken finger. Nick Bosa, soreness. Dre Greenlaw, soreness. Oza Digizua, soreness. Jacob Cowling, hip flexor strain. Carver Willis, concussion. Brett Toth, undisclosed. And then there was another wave. Mike Evans with an injury. Christian Kirk with an injury. It is... I can't explain.
And Ricky Pearsall's out for the year, if we think about it.
And Ricky Pearsall.
What the hell?
Yeah. So, 49ers, man, they
cannot catch a break.
They cannot catch a break.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, Rakshak, you want to talk about the running back extensions, the wave that happened?
Oh, yeah. I think it all started with I think we had 3 running backs that were not under contract. One of them was Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, and the other one, Bijan Robinson. And guess what? Bijan Robinson got himself paid. 3-year, $75 million deal with $51 million guaranteed. And then guess what happened next? Jonathan Taylor. I'm trying to pull up the links, but shout out to Abhishek Ramani, our NFL insider. Colts and Jonathan Taylor, 2-year, $44 million contract extension. He led the NFL last season with 18 touchdowns. I think that's fair. And then last but not least, Jahmyr Gibbs. 3-year, $67.5 million deal that could be worth up to $75.75 million. I love this deal. Brilliant. You are keeping Sonic. You gave away Knuckles, David Montgomery. So it's like now.
Exactly. Jahmyr Gibbs is now he's going to be the CMC of the Lions offense. That is 100% ascertained right now.
I mean, if you're going to stick with the topic, who's going to be Tails and who's going to be Shadow?
You say. You decide.
I'm not gonna decide for the Lions. Oh hell no! They got their own shit to figure out. But because I remember when the Lions and had that Sonic and Knuckles, and then when I had Saquon, I was like, you know what? You guys may have Sonic and Knuckles. Saquon Barkley Shadow the Hedgehog because he freaking destroys that when he had like that record season of rushing. But outside of that, I think it's gonna be. I think I really like the extensions. They are paying their big players. So. I really like that.
Exactly. All righty. Now, let's move on to why we are doing this episode. talking about the NFC West division, starting with
Oh, and I'm sorry, but like one last thing I wanted to
okay,
talk about
breaking
really
news.
quickly. On a press conference on Saturday, this was during Eagles minicamp. Lane Johnson, the Eagles standing right tackle, part of that old veteran squad. He was drafted by Chip Kelly in his first year in 2014. He said that he announced that this will most likely be his last season in the NFL.
Ooh.
I to be honest, I think we Eagles fans saw that coming because of all the he's battled through injuries the last couple of seasons. Whenever he's healthy, he plays very well, but I think he's taking like a step too slower. But I mean, multiple Pro Bowler, one of that Stoutland University stalwarts, 2-time Super Bowl champion, definitely a Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know first ballot, second ballot, anyone can put a debate. I was like, nah, he's a Hall of Famer and definitely Eagles Ring of Honor for sure. But if that's his last season, this could be his last dance. And I'm not surprised that the Eagles said like this is why they drafted Markel Bell in that draft. But we'll have to see how well it develops and how the Sean Mannion offense can run. If the Eagles can make some kind of like last dance for Lane Johnson, I think that'd be freaking dope. But I doubt it. But that's for another tale. If this is Lane Johnson's last year, hell of a career, man. I'm proud of you, and go Birds always.
All righty. We have some more news, but we're going to actually discuss that during the Rams section.
Oh.
Let's see. All righty. First bit. We're going to be talking about them Seahawks. Who would have thought they would have exactly the dark side defense? But like, who would have thought that they would have won the Super Bowl? Right? I mean, they were a strong team, but the previous year in 2024, they didn't have that great of a season. I mean, they just went 10-7. They got knocked out in the playoffs. But after that, you could see that like the bones were there. They just needed to take that next step. And boy, did they take that next step, right? They won the Super Bowl, destroyed the New England Patriots. Revenge for that one.
When instead of running the ball, they throw it to directly hands of Malcolm Butler. But
exactly. So great, spectacular performance by the Seahawks all throughout this entire year. They went 14-3, and there's no wonder why they went 14-3, right? They had a spectacular defense from the 3-4 defense that Mike McDonald has implemented. Number 1 overall defense, number 1 in adjusted net yards per attempt allowed at only 4.47 yards, which means if you count in all the sacks and all of the minus all the penalties, pure defensive plays, they averaged 4.5 yards allowed. That's it. That is the makings of a Super Bowl defense, right? And that's what we always say. Defense wins you championships. When we look at all of these Super Bowl winners by year for the past however many years that we've seen in this modern era, all of them, almost all of them have had the better defense. Seahawks this year, Eagles last year, Chiefs the year before, Eagles, kind of, almost, but Chiefs had the slightly better defense. Rams in 2022, Bucks obviously in 2021, right? Chiefs again in 2020, the Patriots in 2019. That one was obviously a spectacular defensive showdown, right? That one, the Patriots won 13-3 against the Rams, the high-flying Rams.
Oh, yeah.
right? So you go back all of these years, it's been the best defense, or at least a top 5 to top 10 defense. But you can't win this championship without a spectacular defense. And the Seahawks just have that. So, you know, going back again, best secondary performance. They had the best rushing defense,
Mhm.
number one in rush EP8 per attempt allowed. So clearly, that was the reason that they won this Super Bowl, right? They steamrolled Will Campbell, 6 sacks on the Patriots O line. I think they had a pick six. They had
It was
2
a fumble
interceptions.
6.
Or
It
yeah,
was a
fumble,
for
return for a
Nick
touchdown.
Emenwari. Holy
Exactly.
crap.
Fumble return for touchdown, 2 picks, 6 sacks forced. I mean, that what more can you get? What more can you ask for from a Super Bowl defense? That is what you want.
Mhm.
That is exactly what you want, and that's what they get. They've been building that for the past 2 years since Mike McDonald got there, right? They brought in key additions, role players that is going to fit well with the scheme, right? They drafted some spectacular talents like Nicky Minwari, like Brian Murphy from Texas. They, Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon. They're
Oh, yeah.
all like, local talent that they've drafted and developed. But they also brought in some key defensive pieces, DeMarcus Lawrence for that extra pass rushing oomph,
Mhm.
right?
The finisher.
Exactly, the finisher. So all of these key moves paired with the genius that is Mike McDonald basically allowed them to win. Now, that defense was spectacular, but you can't win the Super Bowl unless you have a competent offense, right?
Oh,
Or at least a really good offense. So Sam Darnold showed up when it mattered the most,
Mhm.
right? He was clutch. 9th overall in offensive performance. Darnold was the 8th best quarterback based on adjusted EPA per dropback. And JSN set the Seahawks franchise record with 1,793 receiving yards in that season.
Damn.
The only thing that they were not top 10 in was their rushing offense. Mid-20s in rushing EPA and 14th in success rate. Obviously, it seemed like that offensive line was more geared towards a pass heavy, like pass protection offensive line anyways, more than run protection. But they also didn't really have the running backs. I mean, Kenneth Walker was there. He was serviceable, but he wasn't the oomph that they needed to have a top 10 rushing offense. And that's why they let him go. Right? They made that change this offseason. So, yeah, that was the only thing that they need to improve on for this season was their rushing attack. Now, obviously, nobody's really complaining because they won the Super Bowl, so it doesn't really fucking matter. Even if they have a Super Bowl,
Mhm.
um, slump, even if they have a Super Bowl slump this year, they still won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the bones. They don't really have that of an expensive, cap situation. So they have the ability to continue building on their weaknesses, and it's going to be scary this season what the Seahawks can bring, because that defense is basically coming back.
Unstoppable.
Exactly. So I mean, this was it. It really reminded me of like the 2000s Patriots, where you had a spectacular defense, competent, clutch offense, and really good special teams. So we have that. Now, moving on from in terms of who they brought in and who they let go of. They brought in Josh Job, excuse me, for a 3-year, $24 million deal. Rashid Shaheed, 3 years, $51 million deal. Josh Jones, offensive tackle on a 1-year deal. Brady Russell, a fullback on a 2-year deal, and a bunch of other backups. So they now, unfortunately, they did lose out on Reek Woolen. They let Reek Woolen go to the Eagles, right? They let Kenneth Walker sign with the Chiefs. They let Boy Mafe go to the Bengals. Now, that was a big loss because he was a significant portion of their pass rushing abilities. They let Kobe Bryant go to the Bears, and they let another young wide receiver go to the Raiders. But the big pieces from their Super Bowl winning team, Kobe Bryant, Boy Mafe, Reek Woolen, and Kenneth Walker, they replaced Reek Woolen with, I mean, you could say Josh Joe, but not really, because Reek Woolen is a significantly better player than Josh Joe, but I think he'll fit well with the scheme. Yeah.
I think a little bit more about Josh Jobe. He was actually an Eagles practice squad, like part of an Eagles UDFA, part of that LSU and Alabama. But I think like during the season when Reek Woolen started slipping down, Josh Jobe actually took over his position, and he actually maintained his line as a starter. So I mean, yeah, it sucks that Reek Woolen was locked out because of course he had like some issues like on and off, like on the field. Like he nearly blew away that game against the Rams, like with those penalties and the attitude thing. But Josh Jobe, he was like a lot more controlled. And dude, I thought he made a lot more impact than Devin Witherspoon in the Super Bowl, man. Josh Jobe has stepped up a lot. So I don't think you're missing out anything with that. I mean, like, yes, you're missing out on the depth, but Josh Jobe, he has stepped up a hell of a lot. And I want to say I'm so, pardon my French, fucking proud of that guy.
Okay. So yeah, so he definitely did perform well, obviously. But so you did have you do lose in sorry, but you do lose. I was just blocking off some video that had automatically started playing.
I got you.
You do lose some experience within that scheme. So you're bringing in someone new and expecting them to improve and you know, kind of pick up right where the other player left off. There's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period, right? So we'll see how that works. They did bring in Rodney Thomas, a safety from the Colts, on a 1-year deal. Noah Igbenogany, corner, again on a 1-year deal, and a bunch of other players on a 1-year deals. So losing Kobe Bryant, that did hurt them, and they are sticking with Ty Sipak, if I'm not wrong. Sorry, Ty Okada. Ty Okada is now their strong safety. Nick Eamon-Wari is moving down to nickel, and Julian Love is still their free safety. So we'll see how that goes. I think the secondary is slightly weaker, but again, that's on paper. We'll see how they actually operate in real life. And obviously, it's Mike McDonald, so I'm sure he's going to be able to adjust with the loss of Reek Woolen and Kobe Bryant. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Now, the big thing is they, in the draft, addressed that running back issue. Right? They let go of Kenneth Walker because he just was not cutting it. And guess who they brought in?
What they got?
Jadarian Price.
Oh,
From Notre Dame. He was the backup to Jeremiah Love, Heisman winning Jeremiah Love. And despite Jadarian Price being the backup, he had 15 total touchdowns in 12 games last year. So he's built like a bowling ball, 5'11", 210 pounds. He's, you know, kind of what the Seahawks are looking for behind Zach Charbonnet. It's very much like a power,
Yeah.
running back room,
Mm-hmm.
because Zach Charbonnet is also in a similar weight class, right? He's 6'1", 220, again, built like another bowling ball. Currently, he's on the he's on the PUP list, um, because he now has a knee injury.
Oh man.
But that was a while ago. This was
Okay.
before training camp, so we'll see if he's still if he's still on the PUP list or not. But he's still, Jadarian Price is not a bad guy to replace Kenneth Walker. So I think they're going to be fine there.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing though, yeah, they drafted Jadarian Price. They also drafted Bud Clark, a safety from TCU in the second round, Julian Neal, corner in the third round, Bo Stevens, some guard depth in the fifth round, and a bunch of other depth in the later rounds. So, yeah, they did lose out on some key players on the defense, and it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to replace that pass rushing presence without Boy Mafe. Currently, when you look at their front seven, it's obviously Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, Brian Murphy. That's not going to change. And then you have DeMarcus Lawrence. But you have Drake Thomas, Ernest Jones, and Uchenna Nwosu. So that is going to be your front seven. I think that is kind of lacking without, prototypical pass rush presence in Boy Mafe. So we'll see how successful this Seahawks defense is in terms of replicating what they did last year. Now, defensively speaking, they had a lot of player movements, but offensively speaking, they had some significant coaching upheaval. So the mastermind with the offensive attack that the Seahawks had, Clint Kubiak, has now accepted the Vegas Raiders head coach position. And so they've replaced Brian Fleury as the offensive coordinator. Rick Dennison moves on to the Raiders again as the run game coordinator and senior offensive advisor. They've brought in Justin Uten as the run game coordinator. Andrew Janico leaves as a quarterbacks coach, so they brought in Tyson Price and Jake Peets. Running backs coach, they also left and they brought in Thomas Hammock and a bunch of other assistant coaches. So, offensively speaking, obviously, the big question mark is going to be, how is Sam Darnold? How is Jadarian Price? How is Jason? How are they going to bounce back without Clint Kubiak as their offensive coordinator? Brian Fleury, we want to take a deeper look into his resume. He was initially in Maryland as an intern, and then he went to Sacred Heart College, Towson, and then NFL experience-wise, he was the Buffalo Bills quality control coach in 2013. Then he was with the Browns from 2014 to 2015. And then his largest significant portion of his resume is with the 49ers from 2019 to 2025, starting on the defense, then moving to the offense, was a tight ends coach from 22 to 24, basically prime Kittle years. And then the run game coordinator and tight ends coach again in 2025 when CMC had that insane season. So now he becomes the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So if he was the one, that really helped CMC get to, 2,100 almost all-purpose yards, maybe we see a similar thing with Jadarian Price, especially if Zach Charbonnet is still injured coming the start of the season. Maybe Jadarian Price gets that nod and he gets a similar type of treatment. So definitely some positive signs from a resume, quality. Obviously, coming from the 49ers, he's going to be running that Kyle Shanahan-like scheme, West Coast offense, which is funny since Mike McDonald is the best architect for a defense against a West Coast offense. So you literally have iron
Best of both
sharpening
worlds right
iron.
there.
Exactly. You literally have iron sharpening iron situation here. So we'll see how that goes. But obviously, this is all on paper. There's nothing really guaranteed, obviously, but I think it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period, kind of like how the Bucks felt after they lost Liam Cohen, or the Lions felt after they lost Brian Johnson. So, finally, for me, this is too good of a team to have a Super Bowl slump.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting them to have a very similar record as last year, 13 to 14 wins. Still expect them to make a deep playoff run, probably back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, if the offense maintains the same type of success with a new offensive coordinator and running back. If those two guys can replicate the success that they've had previously, obviously in different arenas, and if Sam Darnold can maintain the level of success that he had last year, then yeah, this is another Super Bowl team. But if this offense shows cracks of turnovers, of mistakes, of not being able to get on the same page, and the defense has to be on the field more than necessary, then you kind of start to seeing the cracks and the weaknesses in the defense. Maybe not enough pass rushers to create more chances. Maybe the secondary leaks a couple more plays, and they just fall short of another Super Bowl. But this is a quality team, and they're going to run well into the playoffs. Now, for me, because of the pedigree that Brian Fleury has, and last year, because of the amount of emphasis that they had for CMC, I think Jadarian Price is my Chandler Player of the Year. Probably Offensive Rookie of the Year watch list.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, he's had success being a backup in college football. Yeah, behind Jeremiah Love, he still was able to generate 15 total touchdowns. That says something, right? And if he's going to be the lead feature back in this offense, maybe he has a similar type of season. Maybe he has around 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, which should be more than enough for the Seahawks. So that's it for me. What do you have next?
Well, if we're gonna go on predictions, I basically have the second best team in the NFC West, or you could say, beat the dome moment right there. I think they could edge out the Seahawks for the NFC West.
Yeah,
I am talking about the Los Angeles Rams.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the perfect offense, or 1,000 ways to inflict pain both in the air and the ground, lo and behold, the LA Rams are your answer. If you selected any other answer, you are dead wrong. Go to the back of the line. Do not pass go. They finished the season 12-5 record, second in the NFC West. Stafford, regular season MVP, rightfully so. And his company, I want to talk about some stats. The offense led the league in points scored, 518 points in total, averaging 30.5 points per game. And they had two crazy playoff games. One against Carolina, they edged them out 34-31. Special teams, they almost screwed that up. And overtime, 20-17 against Chicago. I think both you and I were wanting Chicago to lose one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a fun. I was like, that was a crazy game. But then they almost beat the Seahawks. They went toe to toe, 27-31. They ended up losing to the eventual Super Bowl chance. But I mean, and by the way, their 11-4 start was their best since they started 12-3 in 2018. And they were the only team to score about 500 points throughout the entire regular season.
Mm.
I mean, if I want to go more stats, like how good this offense was, hell, in DVOA, they were ranked second. Offensive DVOA, no, their entire team DVOA ranked number second. Offensive DVOA number one. Passing number one. Rushing number one. All DVOA. Defensive, they were fourth. That's like, and if you want to talk about second in offense, they've been, second in total offense, like this is per ESPN, 276.9 passing yards per game. Stafford led 4,707 passing yards. Kyron Williams, 1,252 rushing yards. Puka Nakua led the league with 129 receptions, 1,715 receiving yards. Oh, and don't forget Devontae Adams. 60 catches, 789 yards. Led the NFL with 14 touchdowns that season.
Fantasy monster.
Oh my
God.
God. You know what's even more ridiculous?
Devontae Adams. My man.
Y'all are idiots for letting him go. I'm just saying in general.
No, okay, look.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm just saying in general. It's like, what the hell?
I don't disagree. If he was able to put up this much, amount of success, maybe. But also, that led us to have a couple of picks, and some of those picks led to some really good players. So,
fair enough. Yeah, to each their own. But and then and one stat I found out, they ran 331 plays out of 3 tight end sets, averaging 8.4 yards per pass play. Kobe Parkinson was a big red zone threat, 43 receptions, 408 yards, 8 touchdowns, especially with like a recovering Tyler Higbee. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, they led the league best 49.7% success rate on design runs, something that Ken Patullo can look at later on. If you want to talk about their defense, it was not bad. Kobe Durant led the team in interceptions. Kobe Turner, 7 sacks. Nate Landman, 132 tackles. Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, those were the 2 anchors of that defensive line. Defensive passing DVOA, they ranked 4th, and defensive rushing 7th. Not bad at all. Like, if you're looking at Nate Landman, he second level linebacker, 132 combined tackles. And if you want to talk about the best ones, if you saw what they did in week 12 against the Bucks, 34-7 beatdown of the Bucks. That was beautiful. And then there was a time in which Matt Stafford threw a record-breaking 28 consecutive touchdowns without an interception. And if you want to talk about like the lows, it was so bad in week 1, especially that pass protection. But then when they started building up the run game, they were and then that tiebreaker drop. If you saw that last game against the Seahawks before the playoffs, how Sam Darnold came out of nowhere and won it in overtime. Do you remember that game? That was very, very crucial, and it took him into that gauntlet.
Exactly. Those were the key wins that the Seahawks needed.
Oh, basically. And but what did they do? I think if I want to talk about contract signings, extensions, I could talk about Matt Stafford for 1 year. I could talk about Cam Curl for 3 years, like part of that big safety, that safety to 3-year extension. I could talk about Tyler Higbee extending for another one. I could talk about signing Quentin Lake to a 3-year, $11.75 million. I could talk about Jalen Watson to a 3-year deal. Corner. I could talk about Grant Stewart to inside linebacker. You know what else I could talk about? A long snapper and Joe Cardona. You see where I'm getting with? I could talk about David Quisenberry to a 1 year. I could talk about outside linebacker Tom and Fox, but no. I'm going to talk about 2 big trades that defines the biggest Rams motto. of Les Snead, general manager. F them
Them
picks.
picks. Yep.
What did they
Yep.
do? The first blockbuster, getting Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs. Excellent corner. I was shocked for a 2026 first round, 2026 fifth, and 2026 sixth, and a 2027 third round pick. Oh my God. I thought the Chiefs got some good good corners, but I mean Trent McDuffie, he's already proven it. 2 Super Bowl rings already. Like, remember, he entered in that 1 year, like when we first started NFL Masala, Super Bowl ring against the Eagles, Super Bowl ring against the against the Niners, and then the last 2 skunked out. But I mean, you're basically adding more to that defensive line, because I thought like the secondary was their biggest weakness, especially going up against like JSN and Cooper Kupp. I think Seahawks sleeper agent.
That's why they got Trent McDuffie. But
They had to.
there's a rumor now. There's a rumor. Aaron Donald might be back.
And the thing about Aaron Donald is because of the crazy ass trade ever that happened. Myles Garrett, one of the most scariest human beings, the most scariest human being in professional football. Led the league in sacks last year. He is a nightmare to any opposing quarterback. Unfortunately, he was with the Browns. But guess what the Rams did? F them picks. Traded away a young guy in Jared Verse. I felt for him, and now he's gone to a fight with Spencer Fano and Cam. Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round, and a 2029 third round. Myles Garrett, Kobe Turner, what the absolute hell? Like, I want to look at the Rams depth chart really quickly. Like,
it is disgusting.
I mean, you have Kobe Turner on the edge. They go base 3-4. Kobe Turner. Then your nose tackle is Poona Ford, Braden Fisk, Byron Young, Nate Landman, Omar Spates, and Myles Garrett.
What do you do? What do you do? And now imagine Aaron Donald comes in.
Oh my God.
Aaron Donald, in the year that he retired, he was facing 60% double team rates and had 20 sacks.
That is
like
insane.
What is this man? He's not a man. He is not a man.
He's a monster.
He is a monster. He's 35 years old. He is now working out with several Rams players. He is working out in practice facilities. All the indications point to him coming back.
Oh my God.
As if he does.
And you want to know about the secondary? I haven't even touched it. Quentin Lake, good nickel. You have Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. Both of them are on the Chiefs. You have both Chiefs players on each side, both with Super Bowl experience. Oh, Cam Kitchens, who stepped up from when he was a third-round pick from Miami, from the U. That's what I'm referring to. And Cam Curl. What the hell is this? And Emmanuel Forbes. Mediocre signing, but he's a good depth piece. Nothing against Emmanuel Forbes. And I see my boy Zach McPherson from Texas Tech involved in that too. So I'm happy for the guy. But the guys that left out, Kobe Durant, corner, he goes to the Cowboys for a 1-year deal. Tutu Atwell joins the Dolphins. Ahkello Witherspoon, he signed a veteran contract with the Commanders and he apparently retired. Roger McCreary, corner, goes to the Lions. I think he's working out with the Lions. Then Darion Kendrick, Nick Vanette, Thomas Rader, and Jameer Garoppolo all are testing out the market. I don't know where they sign. And then there were 2 retirements. Offensive tackle Rob Havenstein, long-term fixture in the O-line, and corner Darius Williams decided to walk away. in March. But I mean, insane, brother, insane. But what did they do in the draft? Quality over quantity, the smallest rookie class of all of Sean McVay's. What did they do? They the biggest surprise, number 13, I thought they were going to go wide receiver. If they picked Mekhi Lemon, I would have been like, oh my God, this offense, Puka, Mekhi, and Devontae Adams, along with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, and don't forget a returning Kobe Parkinson, Tyler Higbee, and Terrence Ferguson. And oh yeah, they forgot Max Clare. I'm going to talk about Max Clare pretty soon. That was disgusting, but they went with Ty Simpson. We were shocked about that pick because he was like a 1 year in Alabama, I think. I think he had like apparently he's like a former 5-star recruit, smooth release, and I mean, he's going to be competing with an old man Stetson Bennett. I don't know about, I did not like that pick. I thought they could have gone wide receiver, but I think they're happy with what they have in the room. In the second round pick, they went with Max Clare, big tight end. He is a passing game nightmare, attacks the slot. I hate this. I hate this tight end room. Kobe Parkinson, who can attack the red zone. Tyler Higbee and Terrence Ferguson. I'm pissed already about this team. I am so pissed. I mean, it's going to be, I honestly think, guess what? I think Terrence Ferguson gets cut over Max Clare. I honestly think that's going to happen. And then round 3, I'm not done. Keegan Frost, offensive tackle from Mizzou. You see where they're going with, building through the trenches. Beautiful swing tackle from Mizzou. Good blocker. I think like is definitely fits in more in the interior guard. I think he is going to be the backup to, I mean, Keegan, from looks like a Keegan Frost, he's being basically behind Warren McClendon Jr. So I can see that. Then wide receiver, oh yeah, CJ Daniels, physical dude from the U of Miami. I mean, definitely good shifting, basically body contestant after the Rams traded up with the Eagles. CJ Daniels was a day 3, definitely good fit. Then round 7, Tim Keenan, defensive tackle. Tim Keenan the third, defensive tackle from Alabama. Good rotational space eater, good interior line depth, power hair, heavy nose tackle. I mean, if you're getting freaking Aaron Donald and he needs a break from all that stuff, you could basically it's a plug-in. I mean, he gets to learn from Puna Ford, Byron Young. Dude, this freaking old defensive line is unfair.
I don't get it.
I hate it. I hate it.
There's no way, there's no reason why this Rams defense would not be the number 1 defense in the league.
I would not be surprised.
Simply because of that D-line.
And like Matt Stafford's like, no, Matt, it's like Sam Darnold's like, oh yeah, what a Super Bowl. It's like, now I gotta deal with this shit. He's gonna be seeing ghosts again.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Oh, and I'm not done yet. As I posted, there was a ton of coaching changes. Ray Bubba Vetron from the special teams joins who has previously served as for the Browns. He joins in. Mike LaFleur, the Rams LC. He's now the head coach for the Cardinals. I'll talk about him later. Kyle Hawk, who was the assistant, came over to the Rams as the special teams. It was announced. And guess what? Cliff Kingsbury, former Cardinals head coach and Texas Tech head coach. And you know my spiel with Cliff Kingsbury, how he has that air raid system, more of the open up of the passing game. He's hired as the he's later announced as the assistant head coach. He replaces Aubrey Pleasant. Nate Shield Hayes served as a Rams passing game coordinator for 2 seasons. He's now elevated to the LC position. And then you had Brian Allen, who played 6 seasons for the Rams, had special previous season as a consultant. He's now a full-time coaching staff as part of the O-line coach. 2 seasons offensive Rob Calabrese, wide receiver head coach. Now senior defensive line Jimmy Lake is now passing game coordinator. Michael Hunter, former corner for the Giants, hired as a defensive backs coach. And then Brian Johnson, former assistant head coach and passing game coordinator for the Commanders the previous 2 seasons. He's now a senior offensive assistant. He succeeds Alex Van Pelt, who's now the QB coach for the Falcons. QB coach Dave Ragone was retained as associate coordinator. And guess what? Former wide receiver Robert Woods. Remember him? Rams from 2017 to 2021. He is now the assistant wide receivers coach shortly after retiring as a player. I love this so much. And you got Robert Wright, spent more 10 years as an assistant coach in the collegiate level, mainly in Syracuse, co-defensive coordinator, linebacker coach. He's now with the Rams as a defensive assistant. Very few, they focus on quality over quantity, apparently. F them picks still the route. I mean, I got a feel for the Cronkies, bro. Like, not only did they, like, if you think about the Cronkies, man, they own the Rams. Like, they got Myles Garrett. Hell, my team, my Premier League team in soccer, Arsenal, won the EPL. They're owned by the Cronkies. I mean, and we can talk about that later. But, I mean, if I want to talk about season predictions, 10 wins minimum, I say they go 12 or 13 at best. I am not shocked by it. It's a very tough gauntlet that they're facing. I mean, if you want to look at their schedule, couple of games I am noting out. San Francisco, week 1. And then week 4 at Philadelphia. Week 3 at Denver. Then after Philly, they face off against Buffalo. And then after the bye, guess who they got? Green Bay, Kansas City, San Francisco, Dallas, Seattle, Tampa, Seattle.
That's a gauntlet right there.
That is a gauntlet. That's what I'm saying.
They have the team. That's the thing, right?
And I mean, outside of injuries, bro, 12 wins. I think 12 wins would not be disappointing. I think they win the end. I think they will fight. There's going to be a stupid ass tiebreaker. It's going to piss off both the Rams and Seahawks. I'd love to see it. And you know what? I think the Rams could win the NFC West. And you know what? Possible Super Bowl appearance right there. I would not be shocked.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in the NFC, you're looking at the Seahawks, the Rams. That's maybe it. Like, those 2 teams are in a class of their own.
Oh, 100%. They are the class. And this is going to be hard for the Shandar player because the Rams, like, if you know the NBA, have you watched Space Jam? There's a meme called the Monstars. These are the Rams right now. They're the Monstars of this. It's unfair. I could talk about Matt Stafford going another level. I could talk about Myles Garrett being my Shandar. I could say Trent McDuffie. I honestly don't know. I don't even have a Shandar player. But if I can bet on one guy who can change up everything, I could be wrong. I don't care. I'm saying Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's going to be my Shandar player of the year. He is going to turn this Rams defense. He's going to take it up another level. It's not even going to be fair.
It's not going to be fair. It's not going to be fair. Alrighty, moving on to the Niners. Man, I know you hate the Niners. I hate the Niners too for the history, but I kind of just feel sad for them because last year they had, again, injuries, more injuries. Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Taron Johnson, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle. Given all of that, I honestly think like Coach of the Year should have been Kyle Shanahan. I know there was a big debate between Mike Vrabel and Kyle Shanahan. And, at the time I may have said Mike Vrabel should be Coach of the Year, but honestly, looking back at it now, Kyle Shanahan kind of deserved that because to have so many star players missing out for so many games due to long-lasting injuries, They went 12-5. They went into the playoffs, and then they unfortunately ran into the Super Bowl champions, and they just could not have enough in the tank to move forward. They ran into the juggernaut, and they lost 41-6.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it is what it is, right? Offensively, Kyle Shanahan did everything possible to have a strong, successful offense because he gave it to the one man who was still on the team and healthy, CMC. 2,100 all-purpose yards, more than 2,100 all-purpose yards, 17 total touchdowns. Literally, their best receiver was a running back at 900 plus receiving yards. That's how OP CMC was.
Yeah.
He was their best receiver. Their next best receiver was Juwan Jennings with 621, who they let go of. Now, unfortunately, because of all of those injuries, especially on the defensive side, they did not have a good defense, especially in the games where Brock Purdy was not playing. Second worst overall defense, lowest in terms of sacks created, seventh highest adjusted net yards per attempt allowed, almost 7 yards allowed. And that is with Robert Saleh coming back,
Oh my
right?
god. Yeah.
Even though Robert Saleh, their star defensive coordinator, came back for 1 year.
Mhm.
Now they let him go, obviously. But even though he came back, it just wasn't enough. They just didn't have enough to sustain, enough talent, enough bench depth to sustain the amount of injuries that they had. So, yeah, unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now, when we look at their transactions, what they did over the offseason, obviously they let go of Juwan Jennings. He went to the Vikings. Jordan Elliott, D tackle, went to the Titans. Spencer Burford went to the Raiders. Jason Pinnock went to the Giants. Kendrick Bourne went to the Cardinals. Sky Moore signed a 1-year contract with the Packers to be primarily return man. Ben Barch went to the Lions. Brian Robinson, running back, went to the Falcons. Matt Hennessy, the center, went to the Cowboys. Cleveland Farrell went to the Dolphins. Curtis Robinson went to the Cowboys again. Robert Beal, another depth defensive end, went to the Dolphins. Chase Lucas went to the Bucks. So the only people that they really signed that are going to provide them with significant, you know, uh, significant opportunities is probably their kicker, Eddie Dinero Pinero, and Patrick Taylor, running back, formerly of the Packers, once in a while, and a bunch of other defensive depth players. But they let go of so many people. Now, that is what happened from a re-signing purpose. Now, when we look at some free agents that they brought in, right? They brought in Mike Evans to a 3-year contract. Now he's injured, so we'll see how that plays. But at least they brought in Mike Evans, some more offensive depth. They brought in Vidarian Lowe from the Patriots, Brett Toth from the Eagles, Nate Hobbs from the Packers, Christian Kirk from the Texans, Corliss Waltman from the Steelers, Robert Jones, Jack Jones from the Dolphins, former Patriot, Cameron Sample from the Bengals, and a bunch of other depth pieces. Josiah DeGuara from the Cardinals as backup tight end to George Kittle. But yeah, so, honestly, the biggest signing obviously was Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
bringing in a quality starting receiver. Um, we don't really know what they're doing with Brandon Ayuk. His thing is still up in the air. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. It's honestly just a great big question mark. And that big question mark is just going to be their injuries. They made some questionable draft picks, uh, some that I really don't see providing them with a lot of immediate performance. Maybe Kalen Black as a running back provides them with some goal line opportunities that they picked up from the third round, but I don't really foresee CMC not getting many, having opportunities taken away from him. But they did bring in Dejon Stribling, wide receiver from Ole Miss, in the second round. Um, so yeah, it is
It's
it
okay.
is yeah, but like this is the thing with the 49ers. We know who they are. They haven't made that many changes to address some of their key positions. They have like the only big change that they really made was bringing in Mike Evans, who is now questionable. Yeah, obviously, they brought in Debo Samuel, but that's Debo Samuel. So I, he's not going to be that successful, or maybe not that successful, but he's not going to be as successful as he was with the previous stint for the 49ers, right? He's a shell of himself. So you currently look at how many players on their depth chart have injuries, right? Jordan James, their second running back. Kalen Black, the running back that they drafted, third string running back, questionable. Isaac Garendo, he is out. Mike Evans is questionable. Dejon Stribling, the wide receiver that they drafted, questionable. Christian Kirk, questionable. George Kittle, out. Vidarian Lowe, who they signed from the Patriots on a 1-year deal, questionable. That's 8 players on the offense.
That's just
That's
insane.
8 players on the offense. And then on the defense, Oza Digizua, questionable. Nick Bosa, questionable. Romello Height, questionable. Peyton Bethune, questionable. Keon White, questionable. Michael Williams, questionable. Malik Mustafa, questionable. They
Oh
have
my
15 players.
god.
And that's not to mention Ricky Pearsall, who's on IR. So they almost have 17 players now because they have one more depth player who's questionable. This is before even the season starts. So when you have such attrition before even the season starts, I really don't see how successful this team's going to be. Like the substation again strikes, so many injuries. If the substation somehow doesn't finish them off, I could see they get 10 to 11 wins.
Mhm.
But honestly, the Rams and Seahawks are going to finish them off. Like
Yeah.
the 49ers last year were just limping along until they got blown to bits by the Seahawks. This year, it's just going to be another year of trying to stitch everything together. But I think this is the year that is the hot seat for John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, that entire team. Because when you look at their history, when you look at the past several years that they've had, 2025 obviously was 12-5, but they were third in the NFC West. Before that, they were 6-11.
Yep.
In 2023, they were 12-5 again. They won. They beat the Packers, but they lost to they lost in the Super Bowl. That was their highest high, right? In 2023. In
Mhm.
2022, they were 13-4, and they lost in the NFC Championship. 2021, they were 10-7, third in the NFC West. 2020, 6-10, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've gone up and down. They've been to 2 Super Bowls, 2019, 2023. But
It's gonna be tough for Kyle Shanahan, man. Like he has to find a way to like get through that hump, right?
yeah, yeah,
I think this is the
but
season. This has to be the season for him.
yeah, but I don't know if they have the team for that, right?
Which I think like it'll
That's
give
the
him like another.
problem.
I think what John Lynch will do he'll give him like a 2-year grace deal. He's like, yeah, I kind
Mm.
of understand like you got injuries, but let's
But I
try.
think John Lynch has to be held accountable here too for not drafting quality depth pieces.
I
When
think
you
you have
have such when you have such attrition in your uh training and coaching or conditioning sectors,
Mhm.
and you're not resolving that, you're not able to even draft well consistently. That has to count for something. John Lynch has to be held accountable, sir, for some of the failures.
I think so too. Yeah,
So I don't know. We'll see. I think this year
it's gonna be
is
tough.
kind of a hot seat for the 49ers. Maybe I'm on the outside. Maybe I'm one of the minority, you know, looking at it from this perspective, but I just don't see it.
Mhm.
I just don't see how this team is going to be successful this year. They have way too many injuries already. They have too many veterans who are injury prone.
Yep.
They just had a quarterback who missed 9 games, uh, or sorry, uh, 7 games from an injury, who's more or less a system quarterback. And the entire offense runs through CMC, who is again injury prone.
I mean, if you're able to find a way to shut down CMC, you control that offense.
Yeah. So, oh, well. We'll see is the motto for the 49ers.
We
We
will
shall
see.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I know you may have talked about this guy, but I also want to give a special shout out to my boy from Texas Tech, Romello Height. I know you may have talked about that a little earlier. You remember he was part of
Mhm.
that squad. David Bailey, Lee Hunter, and arguably the best linebacker in college football that last year, Jacob
Mhm.
motherfucking Rodriguez. By the way, just want to let you know, Reckham Tech as
Yeah.
always, brother. But yeah, I think excellent. I would say I could say I could bet the under for the Niners. I think they win 9 games with all those injuries.
Yeah. Yeah. Like honestly, 10-11 is my, absolute peak optimistic goal. But realistically, it's probably going to be lower.
Yep, I won't blame you on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, last but not least, do we? I mean, permission to skip
Do
the
you
scene.
want to talk about this team?
I gotta talk about them. I mean,
You do
I'm
have
gonna
to.
try.
We should. Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
We'll just
I mean,
keep it
no
short.
disrespect, Cardinals. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it was just bad. 3-14. But you know what they did, Anand? They did the most successful thing. They completed a very successful tank bowl campaign. They were top 3
Mhm.
in the draft. Anand, give your salute. They did it. I salute you, you desert birds. And they started 3-0,
Exactly.
and then they collapsed. I mean, you know what? Some of their highs, they were actually good on third downs. Moved the the chains of 9 of 14 opportunities, 64%.
Mhm.
Apparently they were the worst in tackling, according to Pro Football Focus. And they lost their 11 of their final 12 games, surrendering 37 or more points 6 times over their final 9 outings. That's how bad it was. But the
Mhm.
only highlights, Jacoby Brissett, stepped in after Kyler Murray. That was a fun debacle. And 111 as a starter. I think the only best part was Trey McBride, bro. He led the team in receptions, 1,239 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, and Michael Wilson had 1,000 receiving yards. That was it. And I mean, if you want to talk about Trey McBride's stats, remember, this was a guy. Oh my goodness, what the heck? Okay. Remember, Trey McBride did not have a receive. I remember there's like this one stat that he did not have like a receiving yard. He didn't touch like 1,000 receiving yards for a long time. I think it was 2024. He had 1,000 receiving yards. 2022, and I think he did not have a touchdown until then. 2025 was like season, and you know what, like not bad for when he was selected in the 2022 draft. I think he had an 8 reception, 72-yard touchdown against Cincinnati. That was like the best performance. Mac Wilson, linebacker, led the team, anchored the defense with season high 9 tackles and an amazing interception. And if you want to talk about like interceptions, Denzel Burke, corner from drafted from Ohio State, Buda Baker, of course, like he's like your best defensive player overall. And I know there's an inside Eagle, there's like an Eagles fans joke. Get Trey Baker. He's going nowhere. He's paid a lot. And I mean, it was Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. Those were the 2 guys. And I don't want to talk about stats because it's so bad.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you don't really have to. We all know the situation with the Cardinals. It's just, what can they do now?
What else? Yeah, so here's what they did. In the offseason, I thought they got some of their. I'm going to list off the names that they got. I'm not going to go through contracts because it's just a pain. Isaac Seumalo, guard. Tyler Algier, running back. Roy Lopez from the Lions. Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver. Jack Gibbons, linebacker. Elijah Wilkinson, guard from the Falcons. Gardner Minshew. And then you had Andrew Wingard, Andrew Billings, LJ Collier, Devin Duvernay. Decent. Matt Pryor, Isaiah Oliver, Casey. I just can't. I can't. This is what they're doing to me. And then, and then here's the big ones. They let go of a couple players. Jalen Thompson, their safety, goes to the Cowboys, 3-year deal, 3-year, $33 million. Dalvin Tomlinson to the Chargers. Calais Campbell, I think that's like the notable one, goes to the Ravens for a 1-year deal. Akeem Davis-Gaither, Evan Brown, they both go to the Colts and the Texans respectively. Greg Dortch, I think like their best or third best. Amari DiMercado goes to the Chiefs. Josiah DeGuara, tight end from the Niners. Oh, and the biggest one, Kyler Murray. What a fall, bro. From being drafted as the potential savior, and it was the injuries. It was bad. It was bad. And then, of course, Kyler Murray sitting out with like the Call of Duty and whatnot. It was bad. So, he's with the Vikings now. We'll talk about that later. But enough about what the hell they did in this. Let's talk about what the Cardinals did in the draft. Oh boy. Let's talk. Number 1, they made the craziest pick. I thought they'd go defense with David Bailey. But no. They go Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame. We were like, what the actual hell was this? Right? I am like, why did they make that trade? Well, looking at their depth chart, I mean, they did let go of I mean, DeMarcado was like their best running back, and Michael Carter, 333 rushing yards. They needed more depth, and he's let go too. So they went with Jeremiah Love and Tyler Algier, James Conner, who's recovering. I mean, Jeremiah Love, best running back from Notre Dame. I remember he took over Jadarian Price, 3-down weapon specialist. He was final year of college, 1,372 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns. I think this is what they want to work on. And then round 2, they go Chase Basantes, guard from Texas A&M. I really like it. Immediate starter. You can basically plug him either at guard or at I think like he could start at guard, but he's gonna be behind Isaiah Adams. Good depth. And then Carson Beck. Finally, Carson Beck lands, and he's with the Cardinals. And Anand, can you tell about Carson Beck really quickly? What he did in that game?
Bro, it was just fantastic to see precision passing at its finest. Obviously, there's a preseason game, but he was making chunk plays after chunk plays. He was reading it right. He had there was an out route that was pristinely thrown. I know this is a preseason game. Again, these are all NFL quality players, but this is the rookie QB who was performing like a seasoned veteran, right? Like, yeah, he didn't have the touchdowns, but it was still a fantastic game to watch. And I just loved with the way in which he was very calm, collected in his in the pocket. He was not making a lot of rash plays, but yeah, it was absolutely fantastic to watch. Just to see a potential starter in Carson Beck. Obviously, we need to see a little bit more of him. Maybe it's just the Panthers, third string defense that just wasn't as great. But he made some plays, for where his receivers were covered by top tier players like J.C. Horn. Right? J.C. Horn was covering a couple of his wide receivers, and he was able to make plays to them. So some quality play, but we definitely need to see more. But the tools are there.
Oh, for sure. And oh boy, my 1 second, give me 1 minute. Facing a couple of technical difficulties, you may not see my screen, but perfectly okay with this. So I did like the Carson Beck. So far Carson Beck's working out. Then round 4, they won Caleb Proctor, 6'3", 280. Off defensive tackle from Southeast Louisiana. I think like they've targeted all draft. He has played. He actually had like 2 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss against LSU last season. So, part of like a growing Pains linebacking group. Defensive tackle group. Then round 4, my boy Reggie Virgil from Texas Tech University. He did finish his collegiate career, 1,583 receiving yards and 16 touchdowns. He had himself a game in the Hall of Fame game against the Panthers. I saw a couple of nice third down pickup plays and how he could do the yak. But I think like he's going to be probably wide receiver 3. He will be behind Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson, or probably he's going to have to battle against Devin Duvernay and the others. And then last but not least, then the last 2 picks, round 6, Carson Shahar, linebacker from Iowa. I think it'll be mainly special teams. And then Jaden Williams, offensive tackle from Ole Miss. He's a project player, but I think like it's good to see. It's good like they're focusing more on the offensive line after whatever the hell happened last season. And by the way, they made some very, very big coaching changes. I think the biggest one, I'm not going to go through every single one because, or I'll talk about 2 ones. They kept Nick Rawls as the defensive coordinator, but they fired Jonathan Gannon, thank God, because that dude was a menace.
Mhm.
And you know my hatred for Gannon big time. And what they and they also got Mike LaFleur. I thought that was a good move to like help either Jacoby Brissett
Mhm.
or Carson Beck, whoever's going to be your starter. And new offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett from the the Packers. I mean, you're still running a bit of the Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, or Sean McVay style. So you're bringing that new West Coast offense, a new offense to work with. And the special teams coordinator, Mike Gorbial, he's new. And by the way, you know who the new QB coach is? Matt Schaub.
Huh.
Remember that name? Matt Schaub? Former
Interesting.
quarterback, former journeyman quarterback. We know him from the Texans back in the good old days. If you guys are old as me, you'll remember Matt effing Schaub.
Mhm.
I mean, not a bad thing, but again, if I'm gonna be brutally honest with you, record and results, it's going to be growing pains to just say 2-15, 3-15, 3-14. They're going to compete for Tank Bowl again, because I do like the pickups that they made. The draft wise, I thought they could have done better. Like honestly, they could have gone David Bailey, but Jeremiah Love in the third round and the third overall, that was very shocking. I wasn't sure about this pick, but if he pans to work it out, so be it. And my Shandar play of the year, I really need to talk about one. I mean, I keep an eye on Carson Beck. I mean, after that performance, but if he could take over the starter, I mean, I'm on Carson Beck watch. I'm gonna say it as it is.
Yep. Honestly, I don't disagree with you. Given the way that the preseason, or at least the Hall of Fame game was, I definitely think he has a shot at being the starter. Jacoby Brissett can go cry. Alrighty. Well, that's going to be it for us today. If you guys have enjoyed, please leave us a review on one of the 4 podcast platforms that we host our podcast on: Apple, Google, Spotify, and Pocket Cast. But we're not on Google anymore because Google Podcasts does not exist. So, Chuck, where else can they find us?
We are also on YouTube, so make sure you like, share, subscribe, and click on the bell icon for more notification. We are also on our following social media platforms: Twitter/X and Instagram. I mean, apparently not Threads, because they still think we're a dummy account. So screw you on that meta. Our socials, you can find us at NFL Masala 2022. All lowercase. That is at NFL Masala 2022.
And we're going to hit you guys with our signature outro. Go Pack Go.
And fly, Eagles fly. Take care. Have a good night.